Well, good to see you all this morning. Glad that you are here. Okay, so that one. Yep.
Hey, I'm sorry.
Yes.
I texted Ann Bedingfield.
Yes.
And said, are you still in the hospital? And she said, yes. That, yes, ma'am, I've been here a week.
Really?
And so I don't know. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I just wanted y'all to know.
So she's been there a week?
And
She's posted a few times. She hasn't slowed down. So do we know what she's? I know she's got so many things that are going on. So. But she's here, and we believe she's here in town, correct?
Okay. I will find out.
We're gonna find out. All right. So we were talking about peace last week. I figured I wanted to hit patience, long suffering. I wanted to hit two more verses real quick, and then we'll move into long suffering. I did patience as an entire class semester, it seems, quite a while back, and so I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on that, but I like the term long suffering. We'll get into that just a little bit. But we continued our process about peace and being a peacemaker and being somebody that is peaceful, right? Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called sons of God, right? It blesses those who created, those of us that we seek as best we possibly can to be peacemakers, right? As we spoke last week, sometimes it's not always possible, right? Sometimes we are not always able to become that, because when you go back to Romans, we go back to this comment that it says, if it is possible. And there are situations in life where it's not always possible to be that peacemaker, but our goal is to do as much as we can to be the peacemaker, right? For they shall be called sons of God, somebody that's following after God, somebody that serves God. Then you go into Colossians 3:15, and let the peace of God rule in your hearts, to which also you were called in one body, and be thankful. What do we call the peace of God? If you were to define that concept there, peace of God, what would that mean to you? Because I think this would be an individualized thing a little bit. What would that be? What do you think?
Calmness.
A calmness. What
That's
else?
what came to my mind.
Calmness? Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Right, peace of God, knowing what? What gives you that peace? That we know no matter what happens, He's in charge. And so we don't necessarily have to worry about a lot. Do things bother us? Yes. Do we sometimes get upset about things? Yes. Do we struggle with things? Absolutely. It just happens in life, right? That's what it's going to be. But generally, at the very base of who we are as an individual, we can have the peace of God, right? And then, of course, we go back to that concept where it is a peace that transcends all understanding. Sometimes we can be at peace about something. We have no idea why we are able to do that. But, right, we allow that peace to work within us. And then Ephesians 4:2-3, with all lowliness and gentleness, with long suffering, which we'll talk about next, right? Bearing with one another in love, endeavoring to keep the kind of mix between putting this in the next section and leaving it here, but it does talk about peace and the Spirit, right? Endeavoring to keep the unity of the Spirit and the bond of peace, right? We're working together with a common goal. We want to be peaceful people. We want to work together. We want to work out our differences. We want to not struggle with all these conflicts that come up, because you have a blending. And if you take a look at Ephesians and specifically what they're dealing with, you are blending all of these different societies under one faith concept. How easy is that? For us in America, being what do they call us? Melting pot. Couldn't get it out. I got pot out of my brain. Couldn't get the other part. Right? Homogeneous. Right? We're used to working with all kinds of different people and engaging with all kinds of different people and being somewhat driven to get along as much as we possibly can, it seems. It as all these different groups and different types of people. Back then, during their time period, they were not that way. They kept their differences. They kept their distance from each other. They were split down the middle of all these different backgrounds and nationalities, and they didn't do a lot of blending. So what did they do? Right? We're endeavoring to keep the unity of the Spirit. We want to work together, and we want to do it under a peaceful way. That means when we struggle with something and we have a problem, we work it out. We do our best to work it out. How well do we do that? What do you think? Not well. Why is that? Because we're what? Men. Who's going to be in charge, right? Thought is, sometimes we just don't seem to have it in us, right? It says down here, instruct believers to maintain unity through humility and love. Is that where we mess it up? I would argue the first word is our biggest issue, is it not? We can say all day long, well, I love this person, I love that person, I love you, I love all of you, but whatever. What do we struggle with, it seems?
Putting it into practice.
Putting it into practice. Some that requires us to be humble. Okay, we're going to turn the brain on yet, right? And so it's difficult for us to be humble. We don't like to be humble. Being humble, a lot of the times means we have to be apologetic. Or sometimes we have to say, I don't need to be the top person in the room. I don't have to be the number one. And so, right, with all lowliness, which goes down to the humility part, and gentleness, which we'll get to talking about later, and long-suffering, which of course we'll talk about later, bearing with one another in love, which we've already talked about, we want to work together. And this is all believers, not just the believers in your church. Right? If we just stick strictly to the Church of Christ, it's all of us working together within the fold of the Church of Christ. How well do we do that?
Not very well.
We struggle with that. We struggle because we don't like the way that church does something. We don't like the way that church does something. We don't like the way they engage. They don't like what they teach. We don't like. But the idea is that we are working to work together. We want to work together in the spirit of it. Now, spirit is a capital S. And so it's not just a concept or a description. It's actually in the spirit of the bond of peace. We want to work through what? The spirit of who? God. God should be, everything we do as a human being should be all filtered through the goggles of what? It's His direction for us. So what other thoughts do you guys have on peace? Maybe at some point I get along. There's 137 of the vices. So, Any other thoughts on peace? Is it easy?
You'll really know what you get to have.
Well, that piece will be dramatically different than the piece we even have here. The goal is to shoot for it, right? To get as close to it as we can. All right, and so the next topic is patience and or long suffering. I love the word / phrase long suffering. Right? Why? Why do we think long suffering? Why do I think maybe long suffering is a better way to say it than patience? Which one is a little bit more descriptive? What does it mean, right? So the root meaning from the Greek word macrothumia, good word right there, right? Say that 3 times fast. It is a compound of macros, meaning long, and thumos, meaning temper or anger. Literally, it means being long-tempered rather than short-tempered. I'm glad Jeremy said it. Right? And so, it is, what's the idea behind it, right? It means long, well, they call it long suffering. Anyway, enduring hardship and difficult people without giving up or retaliating. Why is that important?
It's a form of self-restraint.
Yes, absolutely. Anybody ever get on your nerves? Don't include me.
Oh, gosh.
Right.
Anybody that breathes has the opportunity to get on my nerves.
What is the Bible? When the Bible talks about being long-suffering, especially, I always pick it up and never take it here. Several instances within the New Testament, especially, it talks about sharing your faith. What is it? 1st and 2nd Peter talks about it. What do we have to be when sharing our faith or trying to work somebody towards conversion, helping them find their path? What is one thing it tells us we have to be with them? Patient. Why?
It's something new. It's something new to them.
Right? Something new. Mm-hmm.
They're going to have questions.
Mm-hmm.
We're supposed to have answers.
And they probably have some preconceived ideas about
Right.
things.
Right?
And change takes time.
It calls on us as Christians, those that are in the meat, to be patient with those who are in the milk, or those who don't even have a glass in front of them, who really don't know or understand what you're talking about. One of the ways when you share your faith is you want to make sure you know where the person is. What do they already understand or think they understand, or think they believe or believe, whatever it happens to be. Where are they in a faith walk? And so then you kind of start where they are, kind of find out what they've got, then you move forward with that, right? And then what you're going to do is you're going to go back and you're going to hit some of the things. Well, what do you think about this? Or how do you believe about this? And you start to work on the correction. Is it possible that somebody in their process of walking towards faith or newly walking in faith, that they are going to make a mistake?
Well, I'll make a mistake.
We all make the mistake, right? We all make a mistake. We all mess up. We all screw up. We all have moments of failure in our faith walk, right? But what are we called to be in those instances where we're working with somebody else? We are to be what?
Patient.
Patient and long-suffering, which means sometimes it might be a lifelong endeavor working with somebody on their faith. You ever talk to the people whose parents may not have been believers? And they worked with them all through their life. And then as they've gotten older, all of a sudden they have accepted this, right? How long have these kids worked with them? All of their life. Do you think they were long-suffering with them? You had family members, had friends, had children, had whatever it happens to be, that you continue to work and continue to work and continue to work and continue to work. Why do you continue to work with those people, those particular individuals? Why are we long-suffering with those that we love?
You never give up.
Why?
You don't want to see him go to hell.
You don't want to see him go to hell, right? Because you love him. Is that what you said? Right? It's because you love him. You don't want to see him go to hell. Right? Or the shirt I saw the other day, you need to get right with God because I want you in hell with me. Right? It's an awful shirt. I got to laughing so hard. But we're long-suffering with those people because we don't want them to be lost. And so we continue to put up with things and we continue to reach back out. We continue to work with them. We continue to strive and teach and guide and example and whatever it is and mentor. How are we supposed to be with everybody?
Well, sometimes there comes a point in time when you just gotta.
Well, Jesus talks about that. At some point, you're wasting your energy. You could better suit that energy somewhere else. Jesus
Sometimes
talks
you
about
gotta cut the line
Right.
and let them drop to the bottom of the sea.
I wasn't gonna put it quite like that, but
I don't know what to say.
But
Yeah.
there's a piece though that comes from I've tried and tried and tried.
Mhm.
I'm not going to beat myself up. I'm not going to put myself in a position of being hurt over and over and over
Mhm.
again with somebody's behavior.
Right?
And you just say, okay, you're an adult. You know,
Figure it out.
When do we stop?
Huh?
When do we stop?
Well, I
When do
stopped
we
last
dust the
night.
dirt from that town and move on to the next step of Christ?
Well, I had to talk with my brother, and
Yeah.
he was like, I'm done with you.
When
You know,
was this?
last night on the phone.
But she had a good
I didn't
reason
know
to.
it. But I mean, it's just like I've tried and tried and tried. I'm not responsible for you.
Right?
You know, you are a 70-year-old man.
You know the truth.
You know, and I'm just not going to put myself in that position anymore for my own mental health, which teeters sometimes anyway.
Mhm.
So.
I think it's knowing in our
That
hearts
is a
too
great
that
word.
we've done. There's no regrets.
Mhm.
Like no regrets. You've done all, and it's not good to always keep going back to being kicked in the teeth
But
over
that,
and over and
That's a
over.
great way to
but
see
it doesn't mean you quit praying for them.
Sure. Because we can't change people. We can only change
Yeah.
ourselves. But we can't change other people as much as we want to.
So long-suffering patience.
So we call,
There's a piece to
are we
it.
called to save anybody?
Say again.
Are we called to save?
Oh, I can't save anybody. I can teach. I can guide. I can lead. I can instruct.
With me, I get into my head that I might need to save them.
Yes.
Well,
Mhm.
And
You're so
understanding,
judgy. Yeah.
understanding that I may just be playing a silly path.
Mhm.
And let God, of course, free them.
So that's an interesting way to say it. That's an interesting way to say that. Sometimes my job is just to what? Plant the seed. Somebody else might come along later and do what? Now, my buddy Chris, when I was growing up, he didn't want anything to do with church. I would invite him to church all the time growing up, and he would come periodically, but he just really didn't want anything to do with that foolishness, right? That's how he would put it. I planted a seed. we're 50 odd years old. He is a strong member of church. He got there. I wasn't the one that watered that. Somebody else watered it, but I was able to plant it. Sometimes you might be the planter. Sometimes you are the waterer. But who always gives the growth? Right? And we don't know when that growth is going to come. We have to be long suffering. When do we determine that we can have that peace of being able to step away? Because I've planted the seed. I've done what I can. They're not accepting my watering, as it might say. When do we know that is the right time?
You can't push a person till he gets angry.
Right.
You don't accomplish anything that way.
Right. You just keep kind of gently knocking. But when do we know? When does long suffering come to an end?
I don't think it does.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I don't think it does.
I would agree. We might not engage in the same way we were engaging with that person. But what are we still working on? What are we still wishing for? What are we still praying for?
Repentance.
Repentance, what'd you say?
Hoping.
Hoping, what'd you say? Hope. Yes. We are utterly hopeful that that person will eventually find their path to who? Right? Long suffering. I don't think this ever ends. In any given topic, we will be long suffering and patient, right? You do not have the right to necessarily say, I'm done with you. What do we have?
I say
No,
that
don't
a
take
lot.
that the wrong way.
Yeah.
But it is, what do we choose to do? I'm going to change the way that I do what? Respond, interact, plant. Sometimes I change the way I water. Right? For Susan and her brother, I have done what I can to reach you. I'm going to continue to what?
I'll pray for him.
Yes. That means you're still going to be long suffering for him in his faith walk, but it's up to him eventually to do what?
Change.
Right? There's no amount of donation I can make to a church to get somebody into heaven. I don't care what random ministry out there teaches that. There's nothing we can do to do that. But what we can do is continue to pray, which means even though you're like, I'm not going to talk about it anymore, you're going to still what? You're still going to be patient because you're going to continue to pray for him. Right?
And once you become a parent, you're always a parent.
Always a parent. Always. It's exhausting, isn't it? It's exhausting. It's exhausting. I'm assuming it's exhausting to be my kid. But don't. All of them.
I wasn't going to say it.
This one. She's not even yet my kid, and she's. So, right? But what's the goal here? What's the idea, right? Enduring hardship and difficult people without giving up or retaliating, right? So we've talked about giving up, right? We really never give up. We just change the way that we interact. Have you ever thought about it in that manner? Right? When Jesus says, dust the dirt from that town and march on to the next, means you're using energy here that you could better use in a different place. But is he telling you not to continue to pray for that group? No, there's nothing in there that says that. It just says we're going to turn our energy in a different direction. Right? Have we really ever thought about it like that? Is that, well, you know what? I'm just going to change the way I do it. What I'm doing isn't working. I'm going to change a different path. Because I don't know about you. Anybody in here headstrong? Susan?
You think I am?
Anybody in here headstrong? Right? You're like, I'm going to reach this person whether they like it or not. Anybody ever felt that way? I'm going to find a way, right? Who guides that? Not I'm going to find a way. Who guides the way? God. So sometimes when we change the way we do it is based on who? When God says, let's try something else. Let's move a different direction. Right? Because you think in this process of trying to engage with somebody, share your faith with somebody, live with somebody peacefully, that you ever get bitter? Right? Not for a show of hands, but does anybody have somebody in their life that they can think of right now that they are bitter with them over something they've done? Not just maybe faith-based, but just in life. Where we're just bitter because no matter how hard we've worked, no matter how hard we tried, no matter what we've done, we can't seem to reach them. Now, the way I said it, what's wrong with the way I said that? We, or I, have not been able to reach them. So we do what? we change the way we engage. We just start praying that God does what? Opens their heart. Whether God opens their heart or not, or whether that person is ultimately open to that, for lack of a better way to say it, or receptive to it, that's not on us. We can only do what we can do, which is we can continue to engage with them, continue to lead, guide, teach, and or example for them, and we do what? We pray for God to soften their heart in whatever the situation happens to be it a scriptural issue, be it a life issue, be it an engagement, whatever it happens to be, right? It is enduring the hardship of that, dealing with people who make our life more difficult, right? Giving up or retaliating. What does that mean? Getting back at him. You ever wanted to, you just wait. Have you ever done that?
Yeah, I have a problem with that, especially, we were at the car dealership.
He's pointing at him.
We were at the car dealership
Uh-huh.
last Monday, and, you know, there were people sitting around, and there were a couple of tables, you know, a little end table, a coffee table. I went to pull the little table over to Kevin so he'd have somewhere to put his coffee. Well, this Asian guy just pulls it away. I mean, he wasn't even using it, but he pulled it toward him. And then I went to get the end of the coffee table and turn the coffee table so Kevin could put his coffee there. This other woman takes it and pulls it. You know, it was a long coffee table, and I thought, you have one of those big cups on there. And so we finally went to another section, and I was able to commandeer nobody was using it.
And then tell them what you did next.
Oh man,
You run
I
over
was
with his
so
wheel?
mad. I was so mad. I wasn't mad at Kevin.
Yeah. I
was mad at them.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it was all I could do not to hex them. We had this.
Tell them what you did.
I did tell the little lady that keeps the crackers filled up. I said, they are so rude, and I said it loud enough that they knew. And I pointed them out, and I said, she was rude. And
That one's rude, and that one's rude. I mean,
And we should have asked them to church.
have you heard the good word of Jesus Christ? It's sitting down right next to him.
And you know, I should have done that. I didn't think about that. But when I worked in the hospital and we'd get pissed off at one of the doctors, we would do this little,
Hexing them?
yeah, it was just a little,
Yep.
it was like a little hex. Not really a hex, but I am so done with you, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And it was all I could do not to go and really try to hex them. And I thought, oh
Putting
God,
curses on people.
help me, help me, help me. I ended up praying. I didn't take pictures. I was sending the pictures to a friend of mine who was Tishy. I was sending them to Tishy. We were talking about it. But it infuriates me because the disabled are usually overlooked anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, you're able to use both hands and both legs.
Mm-hmm.
Let me use a little corner of the table because he can only use the one arm,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and it infuriates me,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and it's all I can do.
I thought she was gonna start a race war right there in the,
It was a Hispanic woman and an Asian guy, you know.
I love my class.
I
Now,
mean, that's part of me. That's part I want to protect
yes.
him. I'm very territorial. I'm very territorial about him.
You know, we laugh with it because it's funny to listen to on the backside. But how many of us have felt like that?
You know.
How many of us have had an interaction with somebody? It doesn't have to be over a table or something, but something that you think somebody has done that is unfair or doesn't recognize a need or something. How many of us have done that? How many of you have wanted to hex a person? How many of them run you over with their, I'm going to run them over. If they crossed in front of me in a dark alley and nobody saw it, I would hit them with my car. Right? You ever had somebody like that? That's very specific, isn't it? You know who told me that? Anyway.
and worst of all, they don't see the Bible the way I do.
Right.
Well, and two, if somebody in that dealership, if we were getting our oil changed, we weren't buying a car or nothing. If somebody had hauled off and slapped their kid, now I would have got up and really got in their face because I cannot stand to see innocent people taken advantage of, hurt in any way, you know.
I know some kids that need a smack.
Well, I'm talking, a smack on the butt is one thing.
Yeah. Knock them across the room is a different one, right?
It's a
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, I would agree with that.
And it's just a lack of human decency
Mhm.
these days to not have even offered to let you use a part of the table or, to try to help out. It's just, everybody, it's selfish. It's about them.
And you shouldn't have to ask, you shouldn't have to speak up and say,
That's exactly right.
can I have enough with it?
Can I have an inch of your table?
Right.
And I did say, when I was rolling away, I said, it's obvious they don't want us to sit over here, you know?
They,
Them people. Why is that a problem in society today? Why is that a problem in society today?
Lack of God in people's
Mhm.
lives.
All about that.
Lack of God. Culture is all about the what? Freud would call it the id and the ego, right? It's all about me. Just about me. The only person that matters is who?
I'll slap the kid out of you.
Ah, don't make me slap the ego right off your face, right? Don't make me rearrange your nose. Listen, that's not nice. Anyway, the problem is we as a culture now we are talking 2,000 years plus removed from the writings of this stuff here, that we are just like they were. Because why would this be being talked about in the first century church? But yet we are still talking about it today. What'd you say? Human nature. Our human nature is to only be concerned about us. That's why there is all kinds of teaching about being lowliness or humble, being gentle. We'll get to being long-suffering and or patient. Don't pray for patience, because you know how you get patience? Trials and tribulations. I'm just going to tell you, pray for direction, pray for guidance, pray for wisdom, because God gives you the things to get you there, and you don't want to have to learn patience. And so, but the idea here is we do it with humility. The problem is society does not teach humility. Take a look at the kids in sports today. How many kids are taught humility in sports today? Look at their examples, right? I'm not picking on anybody in specifically, but just these sports stars that we have today, not a whole lot of them are super humble people.
Well, the Japanese soccer team was awesome.
I didn't see any of it.
no, they cleaned up the stadium. They picked up all the garbage after the game
The
was over.
fans did that.
Wow.
But that's because they do not focus on academics at all until after the age of 7. It is only character development. There is no academic. I mean, obviously you just absorb stuff, but there is no academic teaching before 7.
Well, wasn't that the idea behind our pre-K program
And
originally?
kindergarten, yeah.
Was supposed to be
For
teaching
children,
life skills and cultural understanding and how to interact with each
that's
other
really
and how to
for the same
regulate.
time to everything I need to know in life I learned in kindergarten, because really all you need to know is how to get along with others, how to problem solve, how to deal with, conflict.
Absolutely.
Why
Absolutely.
aren't you running for a school board seat?
Jeremy's running.
By proxy.
And she just changed schools.
And here's the problem: local school board does not decide
Yes.
any of them. None. So,
State and federal.
which we appreciate. They don't do any of that.
It's the,
It's state.
It's so nice of you to waste your time.
Right,
You make no choices whatsoever. I'm sorry. I'm just not.
Seriously.
It's like rubber stamp it, baby, because it came from somebody else. And so, and you got a new job.
I get it.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
You moved to the county. I guess that fits since your husband's on the school board of the county. And so that is exciting. Are you excited about it?
I'm super excited.
I was excited for you.
where you teaching now?
Same thing, isn't it?
Where you teach where?
Special ed.
Yeah, well, at
Or-
City I was Algebra 1 special ed and statistics. Now I'll just be special ed, like focused.
What school?
What school?
Oh, Lincoln County.
High
High
school.
school.
All right, everybody. Great conversation today. I want to move on from patience after today. We'll go into kindness next. It probably won't spend a whole lot of time, I don't think. But thank you all for your comments. Thank you for your time. Hope you all have a great day. Enjoy whatever the weather's going to be. Yes, ma'am?
And is in Lincoln County.
Lincoln County. Did she give you the room by chance?
No.
Okay.
I didn't-
Hey, what color is her bed sheet? Or you keep asking questions.
I offered to help.
Yes.
I offered help, and she said that her cousins and are doing so.
Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you for getting that information.
Well, she's on really strong antibiotics and a PICC line.
Ooh. Right into the heart.
She's got several things going on. And
not like an ICU, but it's kind of like a little step above. With that PIC line, I would think she would be not out on the general floor, but she might, I don't know.
But she thanked us for the prayer. I told her she's been our prayer.
All right, guys. Well, have a wonderful day. If you don't go to camp tonight, come to church tonight, and we will be having services here at the auditorium. And so, thank y'all. Have a wonderful week.